About 10 o'clock, went to sleep, or thought I was going to go to sleep, and my water broke. And I woke my husband up and I said, I think we need to go to the hospital because this was our first baby. He said, are you sure? I just went to sleep. I said, yes, I'm sure. So I'm kind of busying around. My husband went to his brand new truck and put towels down because he wanted to make sure that I did not ruin his truck. And we went to the hospital, and at 6:36 the next morning, Kathleen was born. Of course, I think Kathleen was unique and special. When she was in second grade, though, there was a substitute teacher for an extended period of time. And she wanted to tell me how average my child was, that she was really not unique in any way. And I went, okay, all right, that's fine. But that year in second grade, she was going to try out for the Wizard of Oz that was at school. And I said, everybody's going to want to be Dorothy. Of course, you would be the best Dorothy, but I think what you should do is go for the Scarecrow, because that looks like so much fun. And she did, and she was a great Scarecrow. She wasn't afraid to go for that part 100% and be a silly girl. She didn't have to be the pretty girl there. Kathleen was a very loyal friend. If she was your friend, she was going to stand up for you no matter what. She gave total loyalty to her friends. If she didn't get that back, it was going to be hard to get back in her good graces. When Kathleen was in the 8th grade, one of my students qualified for the national speech tournament that was going to be in Philadelphia. And I invited her to go along on the trip. She had a blast, and after it's over, she goes, I could do this. I said, only if you want to. It's up to you. If you want to, that's fine. And she said, I could do this. So she started doing speech and debate her freshman year. She would come downstairs at night, sometimes at 10 o'clock, and she'd go, could I practice my speech for you? It's like, it's 10 o'clock. She goes, well, I'm really ready to do this. And she'd be in her nighttime attire, t-shirt and boxer shorts, and her heels, because she always practiced in her heels. And then I would work with her. So working with her on speeches was delightful. It was a lot of fun. She just enjoyed it so much, and I enjoyed it too. Kathleen qualified to go to nationals her freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior years. And her freshman year, she had some success doing expository, which is a supplemental event. And she had a lot of fun with that and stayed in several rounds. So the next year, she wrote another one, and it was called Why It's Hot, and it was about cremation. And it was funny, it was punny, and we just had a blast with it, not having any idea that she would continue to stay in the competition. And we went to look at the finals postings. Everybody was so excited, and all these folks from Tennessee came, so we had all the Tennessee support. And we're standing around, and they roll down the posting, and there is her code and her name, and she's going to go to the final round. Everybody is so excited for her, and she's hugging everybody, and I'm standing there, and then I get a hug, and then she goes to hug, and then she comes back, and she gives me the second hug, and it was just a beautiful moment between the two of us. She just went backstage and said goodbye to her, and I sat in the audience waiting for her to do the speech. She came out, and she was the 4th speaker. She gave the speech of her life, and after it was over, I looked at my friend next to me and I said, I just can't even believe that. I've never seen her do anything like that in my life. That was amazing, and we were so excited. Then we went to the award ceremony the next night, and I'm on stage in the wings with her, and we go out on stage, and they start calling all the different people, 6th place, 5th place, 4th place, 3rd place, and she's down to the top 2. And we just can't even believe it, that she has a chance to win the national championship in expository as a sophomore from Clarksville, Tennessee. And they called the other girl's name, and there she was, the national champion. She was as shocked as I was, and we were absolutely thrilled. But it was such a special moment to share together.
University scholarship and a $400 Hall of Fame scholarship is Kathleen T. Beach from Rosie.
You know, I could say it would be about her competition and how she was just this stellar competitor, which I thought she was. I think her impact was more with the relationships she built with people. She knew everybody in Tennessee, And she was friends with so many other teams. She was in their pictures, and people say, "Who's that girl?" "Oh, that's Kathleen. She's not our team, but she's kind of like on our team." But she brought people together. That love and respect that she had for other competitors was maybe her greatest impact. I mean, she was a 4-time national qualifier. She was on the national stage 3 years out of 4. So she was a great competitor, but it was about a lot more to her than that. It was about the relationships. Kathleen's role in our family was pretty much organizer, motivator. She pulled the family together. She loved me deeply, and that's something that you miss in your life when you lose love like that. That's a hard thing. But being her mom was everything, and I'm very fortunate that I have my son Dalton, and I adore him, and he loves me deeply. And love from children is the greatest thing in the world, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me, was having my kids. But some of the things I miss the most, we would sit at night in the kitchen in the corner where the TV was by the counter and watch TV together, just all crowded up in one little space. And those are the kinds of things that you miss. And those moments were as special as sometimes just winning the national championship. So we have a cat named Boo. This year he'll be 18, and beautiful cat. And when Kathleen went to college, we went to her freshman orientation, and the whole family was there for part of it, but then my husband and Dalton went home. And so it was just the 2 of us left, and there were a few more activities we had to do. And we were sitting in the chapel at Swanee, and this was the last thing that we would do before I would get in my car and go home. And we're sitting there, and it was not as exciting or interesting as we thought it should be. So we're in the back, and I pulled out my phone, and I was showing her pictures of some things at home. And a picture of Boo came up, and it was just Boo sitting on the front porch. But for her, it signified home. And she'd already been at freshman orientation by herself for about a week, so she was already feeling what it felt like not to be at home. So she looks at the picture, and she gets tears in her eyes. So she starts to cry. Of course, this makes me cry. So we're sitting at Swanee in the last orientation session, tears streaming down our faces with the realization that she's not going to be at home anymore. People behind us are handing us Kleenexes because we were crying, and I felt like we were making quite a scene, but we were trying to behave. So after it was over, we got up and we walked out together with tears streaming down our faces, and I said, "I guess we should have actually talked about the fact how hard this is going to be, that we're not going to be with each other all the time." And she nods yes. And so we hugged one another as much as we could. And I got in my car and I cried like a baby all the way to Murfreesboro. And my grieving for her really started then, that she wasn't going to be in my home every day. She's part of me every day, obviously. So that's one way. I tell stories. If you've been on my speech and debate team, you know about Kathleen. The kids who never ever got to meet her still know Kathleen's stories, because there's so many stories about Kathleen and things that she had done and what she had achieved. To keep her legacy alive, we talk about her. It's not a taboo thing to mention her name. And I know some people feel that if they talk about her, that it might upset me or make me sad, and it's, you can't do that. You know, losing her was what upsets me and makes me sad, and talking about her makes me happy. You know, to have an opportunity to talk about who she was and what she meant to us is a good thing.